Hey, Sean back here with how to find a financial advisor. In this video, I'm going to talk about why you should be cautious about some of the lists you'll come across on how to screen for an advisor who will definitely take your best interest in mind and be a good fit. And this is a tricky one because this post I'm gonna riff off of is from a very well-meaning advisor who I think I have a very positive impression of, but it speaks to the nuance and sort of an example of why I created this channel. And I'm happy to consult with people on how to find an advisor because it can be difficult if you don't know all the context. So what got me thinking about this topic was this post that says, how do I pick a financial advisor? There's no shortage of options. Here's the advice I give family and friends. Okay, so this is an advisor saying how he would advise people to pick an advisor. Number one, go independent, not a big box firm. Number two, fee only, not fee-based. And number three, require transparency, meaning there's pricing for the services that the advisor provides on the advisor's website. Okay, so a little background. This advisor is fairly new in the profession, looks like a very educated, smart practitioner, but with a fairly small or fairly new practice in business. So they're sort of in business development mode, trying to grow the practice, which can be a overwhelming, stressful time because you're trying to find the people that are willing to trust you with these very important personal questions and items to talk about, right? So I remember that like it was yesterday, even though it's been, 20 years since I had the deepest root feelings that I'm talking about. But it's a big deal because if you're doing this right, it's a big decision for someone to entrust you with asking questions, taking advice on their finances that affects their life in a big way. So I think that's where this advisor is coming from. And I'll just hit on these three items on how I think about them. Go with an independent advisor, not a big box firm. Avoid banks, insurance companies, and big brokers. They're notorious for investing in their own firm's funds. They rarely are low fee. Advisors at big firms are juggling hundreds of clients each. The companies have a lot of overhead, advertising, legal departments, HR. All that's true, right? And I think when in doubt, if you're coming down between an independent advisor and someone who is an employee of a large firm, I would tend to go with the independent advisor. But this is where sort of consider your messenger, follow the money. I'm an independent advisor, so I'm going to be biased that way. However, for the first 7 years of my career, I worked at two very big box brand name firms. And I like to think the clients that have been with me since those days, which ended 15 years ago, they're happy with the relationship because I think the specific person is going to be way more important than what hat or what jersey a person wears. Because I found being in those two big box firms, eventually I thought, wait a minute, I need to control this environment more. I need to eventually become independent, and therefore I am. So I think if you have the right person, if they work for a large firm, they're either one, going to eventually become independent, or two, they are going to figure out how to do the right things for their clients, find the right solutions, take care of their obligations to their employer while still serving you well. So I definitely would favor an independent advisor versus someone who's an employee because there's just fewer conflicts of interest generally. But a lot of successful advisors are sitting at firms, have business cards with a company who you'd recognize on there. And I wouldn't let that disqualify if they otherwise are feeling like a good fit. Fee only, not fee based. Fee only advisors don't receive commissions or kickbacks from selling products. So there's this fiduciary standard idea which says if you have a license where you could sell a product, that there's no way you could ever act in your client's best interest. And so I think, again, when in doubt, if you have someone who has these licenses that require the fiduciary standard versus not having those licenses, I think that's a wonderful tiebreaker or more, because I think the fee only and more transparency model of lining up your interest with the advisors, great trend. However, there will be advisors that mostly get paid for taking care of people's money through assets under management, for example. And maybe they don't have the brokerage licenses where they get paid on commission for making changes in your investment accounts, but they've kept their insurance licenses because they think being able to help you get that insurance in place directly versus referring it to someone else, they want to be able to provide the insurance. So almost always those insurance products are paid on, the compensation is commission based. There's almost no way to pull that out. There are some evolving ways to do that, but if you're a lot of places, it's hard to do that. So if you're able to help someone get the insurance that someone probably might need, technically, if you have a commission, you can't say you're fee only. So there's these little nuances of, well, yes, not exactly. And there are thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of advisors who I would trust my family with that have these licenses. They may not even use them very often, but they have them largely because they had them when they started and they just never dropped them. I can't tell you how many advisors I talk to. I say, have you thought about dropping these licenses? You don't really use them anymore because they're fiduciary fee only type business model, but technically they're not fee only. And they'll say, well, I had to pass that test. I've had it for 27 years. I've had it for 30 years. I just can't let it go. So, okay. It's a lot like the junk you have in your self-storage space or your attic that you don't really ever look at, or clothes in your closet you never put on anymore. But it's not hurting you, so you don't let it go. You don't get rid of it. Same thing with these licenses for a lot of advisors. So again, that would be a great tiebreaker. And in a perfect world, I say yes, fee only, where the only compensation the advisor gets comes from you, either through your account value or from directly coming from your bank account. I think that everybody would agree, or a lot of people would agree, anybody that's not an advisor that doesn't benefit, we would agree that is the perfect world for sure. But again, I think it cuts down you might weed out someone who would be a great fit, you really feel confident with, you trust, you like, someone that you can really pour your heart and soul out in your financial planning. And that is, to me, way more important if you trust someone than what license they hold or don't hold. And then number 3 was require transparency. Service, processes, and fees should be on their website in plain English. You know what to expect before you initiate contact. This sets the foundation for a transparent and trusting relationship. I can't stand it when I get a menu with no prices on it. Can you? Okay, well, I think it's a bit of a stretch to compare a professional services engagement to a restaurant menu. So ideally, you'd have this in front of you. You'd be able to compare and contrast and say, okay, this firm or this advisor charges this much. This one charges more or less or provides different services. But we're a long way off in 2024 from everyone doing it. Therefore, it's extremely hard to compare. Even if you had the prices, it's like trying to compare cars with just the price. Okay, well, I don't even care about cars. I hate shopping for cars. But even I know there's different features, different models, all that, right? Are you getting a warranty? Are you financing? Are you paying cash? Whatever, different colors. I don't know anything about cars. Don't care about cars. But I do care about advisors, and I know there's a lot of variability. So I would love it if we could all have our at least some basic information about how we charge online. I think that's great. But shoot, not even every advisor that you might want to work with has a website, or if they do, it's very minimal, depending on the firm they work for. And to be honest, kind of reverse signaling, if you have a great website and you spend a lot of time crafting that, either it's because you're new in the business or you're sort of, paying attention to that stuff. And ideally, we would all modernize and have a up-to-date website. But when you don't need new clients or you don't need them from your website, I'm shocked how many referrals I talk to. It's clear they've never gone to look for my website, because for years it was terrible. It's still not that great. But ironically, the most successful advisor who's really focused on their clients, I know dozens who don't have any decent website to speak of. Or maybe I can find their name and phone number or an email somewhere. That's it. So now, if you're looking, say, I can't talk to anyone unless they have their prices on their website of their services, you're gonna narrow that field down very quickly. Now, ironically, this person who made this post is gonna meet those 3 criteria, which again, that goes to my follow the money type thinking that I think is helpful in a lot of facets of life. If someone is saying, these are the 3 things you should look for, oh wow, what a surprise! This person has those three things. Again, I do that. Most of us are going to do that because we believe in these items, or we wouldn't say them. But just something to keep in mind that I could probably find you 5 trustworthy advisors who work for a big firm, who are not fee only, and who definitely do not have their pricing on their website. So if you gave me 37 minutes of your time, I would wager I could give you at least 3, maybe 5 choices for people to talk to and whittle down. So again, it's a lot of art and not science here. These are 3 ideal requirements in a perfect world, but it's like getting married. You don't look at the one person, hopefully, that fits. And when you drop that list and you say, I want them to be this tall and live here and have this role and want to have this many kids, and have this color hair, it doesn't work that way for most of us, right? So that is kind of my rant on be careful of prescriptions online, of how you should ask questions and what you should absolutely look for, what should be non-negotiables when trying to find an advisor. And research the writer. If you're going to use a source, make sure you really dig into the creator of that content to figure out what's their angle. Again, I think this advisor was being very helpful, but I think you could also unnecessarily restrict your options if you have referrals to people that your friends and family or colleagues have had success with, and they don't meet these criteria. I think you could be unnecessarily disqualifying people. And again, I would not qualify, so maybe I'm biased, but I'm not really posting that kind of stuff either. So hope that helps. And if I can be helpful more directly, put a comment on this video. Make sure you like it, and you're welcome to call me anytime, 469-893-0067, and I can do a one-on-one consultation to help you find the financial advisor that fits just right for you. Thanks.